Hi there, I'm Crystal from Poise Health and Fitness, and this is the first video of many where I start answering your health and fitness questions. So thanks for the feedback, thanks for all the questions, and please be patient with me as I get these uploaded. And the first question, I wanted to start with probably the most common question that I get asked by my clients, especially on the first initial consultation, and probably one that the general public is always wanting to know at any point in their fitness career, and that is how many calories should you be eating a day? And really that depends a lot on you. It depends on your age, your height, and your weight. So I'm going to give you a couple ways to determine that number, but then I'm also going to redirect your focus not just on getting that calorie goal per day, but on what types of calories, so the quality of your calories. So there are a couple ways you can get your number, and that is, one, you can do calculate it with an equation, which is what I do for my clients. It's a little time consuming, so if you'd rather skip that, have somebody do it for you, then go to a free website, a fitness tool. One of my favorites is caloriecount.com, and I'll list all this information for you too if you're trying to write this down and I'm moving too fast. I'll list all this on the video as well. But caloriecount.com and freedieting.com, and there's a lot of others out there. You can actually plug in your different values and it will tell you how many calories you should be aiming for a day. So that's a really great tool. But I'll also give you that equation that I use on this video as well in case you'd rather be more hands-on about it. Okay, so once you have that number, those calories that you're looking to get per day, that is your basal metabolic rate. Okay, so that is the amount of calories you need just to maintain where you're at. Now, that doesn't include exercise. So if you're exercising, you may need a few more calories, 200-300 more calories per day. So keep that in mind. And then if you want to lose weight, you need to try to take in less calories than your basal metabolic rate, your BMR. Okay, so keep that in mind. The next thing that I want you to focus on is the quality of those nutrients that you're taking in. So, for example, if we ate a whole bucket of red vines, you might meet your calorie mark. You might take in 1,800 calories worth of red vines, but you wouldn't feel good, and I'm sure you wouldn't feel like you look good either. So what you need to do is concentrate on the macronutrients first of all, and I'll explain macro and micronutrients in another video. But macronutrients are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. So when I initially meet with a client, I usually have them start with getting 55% of their calories from carbohydrates, okay? And then 20% of those calories need to be from protein, and then 25% from fat. That is your starting point. Just because it takes a little while for you to get into it, you'd be surprised. Probably most Americans eat a really high-fat, high-carbohydrate diet. So in the beginning, it's pretty tricky for people to get their fat percentages down and their protein up. So I'm going to have you start with fat percentage at 25 of your calories, 55 for carbs, 20 for protein. Once you have that down, and once you're kind of plateauing, especially if you're exercising, you're eating clean, you're keeping an eye on your nutrients, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're plateauing, I'm going to have you take your protein intake up to 25% of your calories, and your fat intake down 5% to 20% of your daily calories. So for example, if you're on a 1,500 calorie diet, 55% of your calories need to be from carbohydrates. Okay, so take 55%, multiply that times 1,500, and then that number that you get, you'll want to divide by 4. Now, I say divide by 4 because there are 4 calories in every gram of carbohydrates. There are also 4 calories in every gram of protein. For every gram of fat, however, there are 9 grams, which is why fat is so caloric. If you're eating a high-fat diet, your calories are way up there. Okay, so again, 55% multiply by 1500, which is your daily calorie goal. That number you'll divide by 4. That's your grams of carbohydrates per day. Okay, continue with that process through protein and fat. So once you've got that information squared away, you can go use those tools that I mentioned before, caloriecount.com, freedieting.com, or if you're really good at math, you can track your own. It is a little time consuming to log in your food journal and your activity per day, but keep in mind this is more of a short-term solution, and it's a way to educate yourself so that you can make it a lifestyle, so that pretty soon after a month of logging this information and seeing it online and getting the feedback of where you're maybe missing in your nutrients, what meals you might need to improve on, after a while of doing that, you sort of see patterns, and so then you don't have to log so much, you don't have to use those tools anymore, you just kind of get it and it's in your head. Okay, so this is short term, so spend the time on it now, educate yourself, use these tools. Caloriecount.com is probably my favorite because it has such a great database of foods. So if you type in a certain food you ate that day, they've updated a lot of their listings, so you'll probably find it. If not, it gives you a form that you can add it yourself. And with these tools, you can customize these values. So go into your account, it's free, and then you can put in that you're aiming for 55% of your carbs, and so on. And you can customize those values, and then when you put in what you're eating, it'll tell you if you missed those marks, or if you made the percentage, or it'll show you where maybe you're weak. If you think that you ate a great lunch, and then you plug it in and you see, oh, this was missing on protein, or I really need to add some complex carbohydrates in my diet. That's great feedback to have. And along the way, you're probably going to make some mistakes. You're probably going to find that some foods that you thought were really good for you or really high in protein really are actually higher in fat, and it's not worth it. So it's a really good way to educate yourself. Also, when you start exercising, or if you already are exercising, you can log your activity per day, and then it'll give you that ratio of calories spent versus calories taken in. Okay, so keep in mind that to lose 1 pound of fat a week, which is the healthy way to do this, and the long-term way to lose weight and keep it off, you need to burn 3,500 calories. Okay, so there are 7 days in a week. 500 calories a day is what you will want to cut out. Now you can do that through cutting out on food, or you can do that on exercise only, or both, which is what I recommend. Keep in mind, once you add exercise into the equation and you're trying to lose weight, and you find that you're always hungry, you might not be giving yourself enough calories. And this is important to understand and take note of, because if you are slowly starving yourself, you're not going to stick to any lifestyle of fitness. You're going to think it's all about starving yourself, and it's not. It's a journey. It's not a one-time deal. For those of you who are trying to lose weight for a reunion or a wedding, and etc., those are really great goals to start with, but don't stop there. Anything drastic, anytime you starve yourself, anytime you do any heavy exercise and skimp on your calories, obviously it's not going to last. So make this something that you can do successfully for the rest of your life. So in summary, figure out what your caloric intake should be, whether you're trying to maintain your weight, lose weight, or maybe even gain weight, and then apply those macronutrients that we talked about, your percentages of carbs and protein and fat. Figure those out, then start logging it and tracking it, and just use it as a short-term way to educate yourself, figure out maybe where you're lacking, and maybe some nutrients that you're getting way too much of, like fat and simple carbs. And just keep in mind that this is definitely a journey, like I said, and be easy on yourself, listen to your body, and hopefully you will stick around for the next installment of the Poise Health and Fitness videos. And please keep your feedback, your questions coming. Love to answer all of them, and I will try to get to as many of them as I can. I'll see you soon.